voice you're hearing is not Bob. My name is Jon Lawrence, and I'm a regular guest of Hanging Out with Bob. So now, for the first time ever, I'd like to introduce Bob. Welcome to your show.
Thanks, John. Good to be here.
Great. Today we're going to flip the script, as it were. I'm going to be asking the questions. Bob is going to be the expert in the subject at hand. And that subject is what I like to call Met Center Nights. Bob can explain a little bit about his history with Met Center. So here we go. Bob, tell us a little bit about Met Center and its history.
Sure, be happy to, John. Thanks. It's officially called the Metropolitan Sports Center, but it just got shortened to Met Center.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, actually.
It was in Bloomington, Minnesota, real close to where the airport was, just off Cedar and that'd be 494 in that area there. Now, right now, when you go by there, it's an IKEA store, and the Mall of America was built. But it was built in 1967. It was, again, the Met Center was a premier 15,000-seat NHL arena. That was a primary use of the building. Known for having a fast ice. Other teams loved playing there, I guess. They took really good care of the ice. It was a good place to play, good lighting and so on. But that was a home for the North Stars from 1967 to 1993. During that time, they were host to 2 Stanley Cup finals. They lost both times, but at least they made it. So again, it was opened in 1967 when I was like 14 years old, and it was demolished, literally torn down in December of 1994.
Okay.
And that's kind of funny, too, because it took several attempts. They tried to have the implosion, and they go, whoops. I think they do it 3 more times, but it was there for a good long time, from 67 to 93. So
Right. And that was well after Met Stadium was demolished, correct?
Right. I think Met Stadium got torn down in about 82 or 83, I think.
Okay.
And then they started, well, I'm not sure about the exact date, but it was at least a couple years after the last season in 81.
Right.
But they started building the Met Center in 1966 or so, because I can remember going to Twins games as a boy, and you could see that they were putting something up. And I remember asking my dad, what are they going to do there? And he said, well, it's going to be for hockey and basketball and other special events. So
in proximity to Met Stadium, Metropolitan Stadium, it was on the same campus. They shared a parking lot. Met Center was north and east?
Yeah, north and yeah, it was almost due north of the stadium. And it was not a long walk. I mean, you could get from one place to the other. I don't even know if it was maybe 3 or 4 football fields away, but it was close. And like you said, that great parking lot was perfect for tailgating.
Right.
Everything was there. You were just there. You didn't have to, park in different ramps and walk and all that stuff. So it was very nice.
It's actually really reminiscent of County Stadium and how in Milwaukee and how that was in very similar parking lot and a great tailgate destination.
Oh yeah, great atmosphere. Yep.
Right.
Yep. And I was going to say, North Stars were the primary tenant. That's who you think of. But it was interesting. I was looking up to see how many different types of events were held there over the years. I remember that it hosted not 1 but 2 ABA teams. The American Basketball Association.
Right.
The Minnesota Muskies were the first version. That was 67-68 season. And then the next year, this team had actually won the AB championship in Pittsburgh. They were called the Pittsburgh Pipers, but they came here and they were the Minnesota Pipers.
Right.
But they lasted only a year and they were gone. So the ABA didn't last here long. But there was also a major indoor soccer league team called the Strikers, Minnesota Strikers. They were there for 4 years. And it also served as a home. There was actually a real is a basketball league that never got off the ground, but it was a women's basketball league that was there back in the 80s. And I can't remember what they were called.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I remember Iowa's team was called the Cornets. It was kind of a play on word because of Corn State. Minnesota, I forgot what their name was, but they were there. There was team pro tennis.
Yes.
I remember Billie Jean King was the captain of this Philadelphia team, and there was a Minnesota team, and you'd have, singles and doubles matches, but you could have people actually harassing the tennis player. It's
Right,
usually
right,
quiet
right.
during the majors, and they'd be yelling at him.
Right.
It was like a wrestling match, but that didn't go long. And then, of course, rock concerts. That was a huge part of the Met.
Yep.
And when I was working there, besides hockey games, the rock concerts were big, and there were some great performances over the years. Led Zeppelin was there, the Rolling Stones, Elvis was there, Jimi Hendrix, Prince,
Wow.
Springsteen, The Who. So it was, that and the St. Paul Civic Center were the two main,
Right.
places. But they had a lot of great concerts over the years.
Wow. Very exciting. So, we'll dive into that just a little bit more. I was just going to say, as an aside, it's very interesting. Elton John had a big hit, Philadelphia Freedom, which was an homage to Billie Jean King, one of
Right.
his heroes, and one of the first people that ever came out as being gay, and that was his salute to Billie Jean King. Philadelphia Freedom was the name of the pro tennis team
right.
that she was leader of
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that was amazing.
yeah.
But I think probably the most bizarre thing, the Globetrotters were there.
Yes.
They were fun. The boys' Minnesota State High School tournaments were there for like 1969 to 1975. That was a venue.
Right.
That was great. And then they just had some really bizarre events. Like I remember one time I worked a Lawrence Welk concert. I was there, and
Awesome.
They actually sold beer there. I didn't think that's what I did. I sold beer
Yeah.
when I was working there, but people were getting their beer during the intermission to the show, and I can remember he took an intermission,
Right.
and when the intermission was over, he came out and he yelled over the PA system, "Okay, folks, get back to your seats."
Yeah.
And the people there at my beer stand just ran back to their seats.
Hurry up, Myron Florin is about to come on stage.
Lawrence Welk. And then they do some private shows that were never publicized. I remember one time, I can't remember the employer, let's just say Honeywell, for example. They had Mac Davis come in.
Wow.
And it was just for
Yeah,
credential.
who was a big star
Yeah,
at
who was
the
a big
time.
star in the 70s, and he did a concert. And I heard that, I didn't see it, but I heard one time Barry Manilow came in for
a
maybe
private
Best
show.
Buy or something. Had
Wow.
him. And so they would get artists for private parties. And then I went to at least one high school commencement exercise there. I think it was a Bloomington Kennedy class.
Okay.
And they would use that because they could get several thousand people there. And most high schools, their football fields, they could use them, but if it was raining, then you can move it indoors, and then there's not enough seats, and
Right.
so it got used for a variety of different things.
Right, yeah. I think summertime, I think they had the circus
Oh, right, yeah.
up here there for a couple of weeks.
The circus, yep, I
Yep.
forgot the circus was there, and
Probably
so
a couple different troops of circus troops over the years, and conventions sometimes they'd have a
Yep.
boat show or some miscellaneous show there for several days.
boxing
so.
matches. I worked
Oh,
several
yeah.
of those.
Yeah.
I never worked a wrestling card there. I think by the time I was working there, I think St. Paul Civic Center, maybe the Minneapolis Auditorium, but they didn't. I don't remember any pro wrestling when I was there, but a lot of boxing.
Yeah, a few big matches, right? A couple
yeah.
of heavyweight championships.
They had Scott Ledoux box Rodney Bobick.
Yeah. Dwayne Bob? Oh, Rodney,
Yeah, he had
the
a brother,
brother.
the younger brother. And
Yeah.
It sold it out. There were like over 14,000 people for that. And what I liked about the boxing matches is a lot of times I'd work the floor. I had a stand, a beer stand with kegs and all that. But I remember I worked right on the floor, and I wasn't more than maybe 20 yards from the ring.
Wow.
So it was just like having ringside
No
seats.
kidding.
And people would come up and buy beer. And it was fun, too, because you'd see celebrities from time to time.
Right,
They would
I
come up there.
imagine.
I remember Paul Krauss used to go to a lot of boxing matches. The Viking
Wow,
Hall of
really?
Famer. I remember he come up to my stand. He's going, "Is that all you're selling is beer?" Because he wanted a soft drink like a Coke. And I said,
Because
I'm sorry,
he was a real religious guy.
Yeah,
right?
and I think
Yeah.
just he took good care of his body, and I think
Right.
he just wasn't a drinker, or at least not a
Right.
beer drinker. So I direct him to the concession stand where the sodas were. So, and then for a boxing match, I don't think it was the same card, but I had a guy come up to my bar. I was looking down, counting money or something like that, and he said, "Where's the?" There was like an upstairs press area, and I looked up, and it was Joe Frazier.
Oh, wow.
Smoking Joe Frazier. He had this all white suit on.
Nice.
And I thought, oh, he just, it was right. He was as wide as he was tall when he was on
Yeah,
street
right,
clothes,
right.
but-
He was a fire plug.
Yeah, he was. And so I directed him to the area, but I was just thinking, wow, Joe Frazier. So,
Yeah. And Joe Frazier talked to me.
yeah, he asked me a question.
Right.
So, yeah, that was kind of fun. And NHL, too, because we'd set up our stand, for selling, at least an
Right.
hour before the game. game. And when visiting teams would come, there was a coach for the Flyers, Philadelphia Flyers, named Freddie Shero.
Freddie Shero.
And he used to, maybe it's just pregame nerves or something, but he would walk around in the concourse. He'd just kind of walk around.
Yep.
And whenever he's in town, he'd walk by and he'd always nod. I'd just say, how's it going? And that kind of stuff. So, and he had those, and then remember the team was called the Broad Street Bullies. It was fighters.
Right.
And he was their coach. But they just, it was fun to see, celebrities from time to time. So.
Right. So a little bit more about that. So how did that come about? How did you come to work there?
Oh, yeah. Well, I never had season tickets, but I went to a lot of North Star games, and I went to maybe one or two concerts there, but I just thought it was a neat venue. I always liked it. From the outside, I don't know if it was that impressive from the outside. It didn't have like a brick exterior or anything, but I just thought this is a place where a lot of great games are played. So when I went in there, and I went to games, I saw these guys out in the concourse selling beer.
Right.
And I thought,
and this would be like a kiosk, right? It wasn't a big, permanent stand, right?
No, it was a stand. It had wheels on it. And
okay.
we'd go to an elevator that would go downstairs when you'd enter the building. But you'd bring it up to your station, and then you could set up. And when I saw these guys selling, I thought, I was going to be starting at the University of Minnesota that year. I think it was still 20 years old. And I thought, this would be a great part-time gig. I'm going to see if they have. And I called, I think the company was called Canteen. That was the vendor. And I said, are you looking for, bartenders at events there? And he said, well, as a matter of fact, we are. So I went there and applied.
Wow.
And
awesome.
I got hired. And within a week, I was starting. So I started doing hockey games and then rock concerts and all that. So
nice.
I just asked.
Your training was probably 3 minutes long.
Well, I knew how to drink beer.
Right.
But I thought, if I can drink it, I can sell it. And I said, I've changed kegs. I had done it before, so I thought I could do this. And it was just all you were selling was beer and peanuts.
Okay.
And the beers were like in 12-ounce cups. Mm-hmm. And then the bag of peanuts, they weren't skimpy, but they were good-sized bags. And this was 1974, but a beer and peanuts was $1.05. And I remember that our managers always said, if you can, ask if they got a nickel, so we don't have to keep giving out change.
Right.
So,
good call.
Okay, you got a nickel? So that was kind of the question we'd ask.
Right.
That was the first year, and then prices went up. But I kept thinking of beer and peanuts for $1.05.
If they gave you $2, you give them 19 nickels back.
Yeah. I mean, everything was manual. We didn't have
right.
computers or nothing like this. This is the 70s.
Right.
So you had your little till with your change and that stuff. And
so you get paid by the hour or commission?
It was by the hour. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, some nights would be super busy, and some nights, like I said, I didn't sell a lot of beer at Lawrence Welk.
Yeah. No,
but
I can't
Led Zeppelin
imagine.
concert, we probably went through like 5 kegs. So.
Right. Huh.
If I can, I would tell you about the rock concerts.
Yeah,
It's interesting
please
because
do.
what their policy was, you could only sell 1 beer per customer.
Okay.
If somebody wanted up and said they were going to buy 3 for their friends that were sitting in the stand, well, we always had to pretend that or imagine that these were for underage people.
Right.
So that's why, we had signs, no beer, no ID. Right. It's amazing, though, some people still try to get around it. They say, I left it out in the car, I forgot it. And I said, don't make me bring my friends up, And sometimes they would hassle you, but we just had to stick to that. But 1 beer per customer for rock concerts.
Okay.
It wasn't
one beer at a time.
At a time, right. So it was interesting. I thought that just the way they had it set up, because something like that could be really abused otherwise.
Oh,
you could be buying
no
beers
doubt.
for kids in the stands.
Ask Wally.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Wally the Beer Man. Yeah. And I never did that. I don't think we had those for rock concerts. For hockey games, you certainly had the people going up and down the aisles.
Vendors
and they were
in the
carrying
stands.
their beer. But for rock concerts, they had to come upstairs and purchase it there. So.
And how well could you hear the concerts from where you were at?
Oh, it was really good. I mean, you could definitely hear it. It was very loud, even in the concourse.
Okay.
That was the only drawback to working concerts, is because you could hear it, but you couldn't really see it.
Couldn't go in and see.
Usually, nobody had a beer stand by themselves. We usually had at least 2 people.
Okay.
And if it was, not as many people coming because maybe they were right in the middle of their set.
Show started.
One guy could stay by the bar and say, you want to go watch for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Then I could stand by the entrance to the seating, and then you could see everything there. So
yeah.
it was different, though, John, because this was the early 70s. They had I guess, bright lights and loud sound system, but they hadn't introduced those large monitors yet. You know,
Right,
now with concerts,
right.
even if the
Yeah.
artists look like ants, and they get the big screens. They didn't have that in the early
Right.
70s, so you could see them, but they were really small. But
Right.
it was loud, and you could hear it. So
Yeah. And so would your stand move depending on the event and at the time, or was it almost always in the same spot?
yeah, I always had the same spot. They like to have us in the same
Right.
areas, so I kind of like that part. But they would have them spaced out. Well, it depended on what kind of crowd they were expecting.
Yeah.
If they were expecting a sell like for a hockey game or a concert with a famous band, I would say the stands were probably every 50 feet away. I mean, they
Oh,
had it
wow,
spread
very
out
close.
throughout- yeah, so
Yeah.
there were a lot of them around. So
Yeah, like
'Cause-
almost one per section or one for two
yeah,
sections
yeah,
or something
that's
like
probably
that.
how they did that. You know, so it made it work. But if there were some events where they weren't expecting a lot of sales, then they might not open as many. Then you might have to walk, 50 feet or 100 feet to another stand. But,
At Met Center, it was one corridor. It wasn't a two-leveled thing. It was one corridor. You go down if you're in the lower bowl and up if
Exactly.
you're in the
Exactly.
and you're in the upper bowl. But
Yep. Yep.
no multiple corridors.
No. It's not like Target Center
Yeah.
or even the Grand Casino Arena. Now they changed it.
Right.
So it was a real basic look to it, but it had really this Met Center itself. It had great sight lines.
Yeah.
There weren't any like posts or obstructive view seats or anything. It was wherever you sat there, especially for hockey, you could see the action really
Yes.
well.
Yep.
So
Yep. I attended probably 10 hockey games in my lifetime at Met Center. Before the North Stars left.
right.
But yeah, absolutely, there were a lot of great vantage points.
Yeah.
Even the upper deck, was constructed so that you had a fairly close view of the ice.
Yep. Well, in fact, there were times when my brother and I, my youngest brother was so much younger than us at the time. He was only like 8 or 9 years old. But when we were like teenagers in early 20s, we would go to games that were sold out or they had standing room tickets.
Right.
And you could actually stand behind the top rows of seats in like the corners.
Yep.
And sometimes there'd be like 100 people in each of those corners standing watching the game.
Right.
And we were shoppers too. I mean, there were times we'd buy standing room seats,
Right.
but if we'd see like empty seats down
Right.
below, we'd go down there, and then if somebody would come with the tickets, we'd go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I guess we're in the wrong seat."
Yeah.
But a lot of times we'd be able to sit in these seats and
Right.
not have to move.
Right.
So.
The old the old premium upgrade.
Now, do you remember? For most of the time that arena was there, the seats were like random colors.
Yes.
There was like Kelly green, white, black, and gold.
Yellow,
And there was no pattern. They were
Right.
just everywhere.
Right.
And I think that was by accident. I think they started installing them and they go, "Oops." They thought it was supposed to be
Right.
like section by section, but it kind of made it unique, I thought.
Yes.
Just the
Yeah.
fact you'd see different, colors. It was just
Right.
it was novel. I don't remember anything like that.
Right.
In
Right,
any
right.
other arena I've been to. So
Right. So, as a spectator, why don't you tell us about one or two of your most memorable events?
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. In 1969 and 70, in the early 70s, they had some good teams.
Yes.
And they made the playoffs, and we would go to playoff games too. And the prices weren't so bad then. I mean, even-
Usually against the Blues.
yeah, the St. Louis Blues. And I remember one year they faced Montreal,
Yes.
like at semifinals.
Should-
And those were some great series.
Oh, that Montreal series was outstanding.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
controversial ending
Yes.
where the goal is scored like
yeah.
right at the end of the game. And was it before or after the end of the game? And that was a knockout game, right?
Yeah, that was game 6 or whatever.
Game
They took
6.
Montreal to 6, but I believe they were the first expansion team. When I say expansion,
Right.
in '68 they had like 6 teams. or
6
something.
to 12.
They were the first expansion team to beat an established team in the playoffs.
Okay.
Every other time, like if St. Louis played Montreal in the Stanley Cup, they always got swept or
Right.
something like that. And North Stars actually beat Montreal in that semifinal series at least a couple of times. It went
Okay.
to 6 games. So,
Wow,
but
and
those were great because that's the first time I'd ever heard really, really sustain cheering and being inside an arena like that. I just had never experienced that. It was wild. So.
Yeah, and that's Montreal teams were really good then. I mean, probably second to Boston in that era.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they won a couple of cups in there.
Oh yeah, they did.
You know, whenever Boston didn't, and then the Flyers that you talked about, the Broad Street Bullies, kind of had their little run. Yep. But yeah, for the original six, those were the two powers at the time.
That's what I remember. Yeah, Montreal and Philadelphia and Boston. With Bobby Orr and SPU, and it was very exciting. So for hockey games, I think it was those late '60s, early '70s in playoffs. Right. That was a great time. I'm trying to think now. I've seen a lot of good concerts as a fan, gone to concerts, but I think most of the big groups I saw at the Met, I went there as an employee. I never bought tickets to go there. So, but I did one time have the experience of actually selling beer on the floor at a rock concert.
Oh, wow.
It was a group called, who was supposed to be the headliner that night? I forget who it was. But the warm-up band was a group called Steppenwolf, which had been a big group in their own name, but...
Yep.
They found out that the band that was supposed to be the on the top billing headliner couldn't make it.
Wow.
So Steppenwolf played the whole concert.
No kidding.
And they went on for probably 2.5 hours. But my beer stand wasn't more than, 50 yards from or 50 yards from the stage.
Yep.
And that's relatively close.
Oh, yeah.
And it was extremely loud.
Oh, I can imagine.
Those PAs were, within a stone's throw where I was standing. And
Did you occasionally take a peek over to the stage during that one?
They were in front of me.
Okay.
So I was stationed. I could just look out and see them the whole time.
Oh, facing the stage.
Yeah, I was facing the stage.
Interesting.
I wasn't behind. I was facing it. So, and they only had it. They only had the stage at about blue line.
Okay.
Maybe the red line. It didn't go all the way to the end, but they did have seats on the floor.
Okay.
But it didn't take up the entire floor. So
you were like maybe center ice to
to
the goal line,
not far from where the goal judge would be.
Yeah,
that's where my stand was set up,
wow.
And so they were like at center ice. So it felt really close.
Wow.
So,
wow, you and John Kay, best buddies.
Yeah, he had his sunglasses on, and they gave a really good show. I wish I could remember who the band was they were supposed to be warming up for. But for whatever reason, the artists couldn't make it, so Steppenwolf played the whole time. And the crowd was fine with it. They weren't rioting or anything. They seemed to enjoy it. So.
Oh, good. All right, how about another memorable non-hockey game event? Anything come to mind? What was so the big boxing matches? The one you mentioned,
Scott Ledoux and Rodney Bobick.
Was Dwayne Bobick? Did he fight Larry Holmes there? The one that lasted.
I remember that fight, but I was watching that on TV. I don't think it was in Minneapolis or in Bloomington. I thought he was fighting him somewhere else. I remember that fight because it's like Kenny Norton. I'm sorry, Bobick and who? It
was Ken Norton. I was thinking of Larry Holmes, but it was Ken Norton.
I think it was, because Ken Norton actually hit him or punched him, hit him in the throat or something.
Yeah.
I think it kind of choked him. It was like a first-round knockout.
Yeah, right. It was very quick.
And I don't remember if Larry Holmes fought either of those Bobicks. He may have.
It might have been Ledoux. I think there were...
Well, Scott Ledoux even fought George Foreman.
Yeah.
And he got... just pounded. I'm amazed he lasted as long as he did.
Right.
He was on his feet for a lot longer than most guys would have been against Foreman back in the day.
Yeah.
But
Well, I know Joe Soucheray has. There was some big fight, and I think it might have been Ken Norton, and he tells this funny story about how after the fight he went and interviewed Norton, who had won easily.
Yeah.
And he said to Norton, "Boy, that was something." He said, "What do you mean, boy?"
oh yeah, the wrong way.
And he's only kidding. And so like a couple of years later, he sees Soucheray again, and he says, "Hey, boy." So it was a smile, at the moment, but Soucheray was a little nervous about.
I just thought of something, John. When I worked that Ledoux Bobick fight. I had taken the portable bar down the elevator and wheeled it back to where our headquarters were on the ground floor.
Yep.
And that's where all the athletes and whatever would walk to the dressing room. They'd
Okay.
go, and I was sitting at the bar, and I think I was counting money, and I wasn't looking up, and a guy comes up to the beer stand and goes, "You got any more beer left?" And I looked up, it was Scott Ledoux. You know, I didn't even have a keg. The kegs weren't even there. We just go, "Oh, sorry, we don't have any." And he just walked away and said he wanted a beer because he just won the fight and before a sellout crowd. But it was funny looking up and seeing him.
That's awesome. Any other athletes ever approach you during an event that they were participating in?
Where I had my stand for most of the games, there was a stairwell right next to it. It was a door you walked in and go downstairs. Mm-hmm. But the players would often come up through that stairway. And the guy we used to see all the time, because on the other side of my beer stand was a guy that sold souvenirs.
Oh, okay.
His name was Chris, and he'd sell like pennants and all that
Pucks
stuff.
And whatever.
But the guys would come through, and remember Al Shaver?
Oh, yeah.
He was the play-by-play announcer for the North Stars. He would always come through that door, and he'd see us and always say hi, how you doing? But it was fun seeing the players that maybe weren't playing because they were injured or something.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to see Bill Goldsworthy all the time.
No kidding.
And number 8, he had the Goldie Shuffle when he'd score a goal. But he'd come up to he'd always sit in these press boxes at the top of the arena, but he'd always walk through and say hi to people. So it was fun to see these guys like in street clothes, just being friendly. I always thought hockey players were really nice guys.
Yeah,
they just were real friendly.
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly.
Most of them were Canadian at that time. There weren't very many European players in the early '70s, but it was fun to see everyone from Bobby Orr and Phil Esposito to Bobby Clark. And I never saw Dave Schultz walking. I just never timed it right. But I just remember he was a big brawler for the Flyers.
Right, led the league in penalty minutes. And probably second, maybe second to Andre Moose DuPont or something.
Yep. Yeah, that was. I'm trying to think if I think of any of the celebrities as we're talking, I'll bring it up. But I remember. Oh, I do remember one time it was a rock concert and Jethro Tull had. Okay. It was their show. Yep. And after the concert, we were downstairs. We always wore these like green vests and yellow clip-on ties. We had to wear white shirts and then we put on these clip-on yellow ties and green vests, and we were
North Star colors.
Yeah, North Star colors exactly. And we were leaving. Or getting ready to go home, and I see there was a lead singer in Jethro Tull. He also played a flute. His name was Ian Anderson.
Ian Anderson, right.
And he was wearing, he kind of looked like something out of a Shakespeare play or something. He had tights on, and he had the beard and all that. But I remember seeing him walk, and he looked like he's about 5'6", real short guy. Yeah. But it just looked funny seeing him walk by himself, So I didn't see a lot of the rock stars after concerts.
No,
I remember.
I can imagine.
They must have gone, as soon as they left the stage, there must have been like
out to the bus.
Yeah, I don't know where they went. It was some hotel or something, but I didn't see many of them. I was always kind of hoping I could have seen like Led Zeppelin and Robert Plant or Jimmy Page, but that never happened. I never saw those guys after concerts.
Yeah.
I do remember, I'm really getting deep in the weeds here, but remember a group called Seals and Croft?
I do.
And they had this one song, it was something about, "Darling, if you want me to be closer, you get close." And there was a woman that sang in that song. She was singing part of it. Yep. And I don't know what her name was, but she had a very nice voice and all this stuff. But after she had sung her song and I was getting done for the night, I saw her behind the stage walking, and I just said, "You did a great job, great voice." Yeah. She goes, "Oh, thank you." Yeah. But that was my only brush with fame as far as the rock stars.
There was a group called England Dan and John Ford Coley.
Yeah, wasn't he a brother of?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, the Seals guy was brothers with England Dan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were brothers.
Which were exactly the same genre, the same.
Yes.
They might even be played back to back on.
WCCO-FM
or something.
In fact, speaking of Seals and Croft, I see where Dash Croft just passed away.
Oh, wow.
Seals had died maybe a few years ago. Yeah. But Dash Croft, he was in his 80s, but he just passed away. So they were interesting because they were Baha'is. They were of the Baha'i faith. And they were kind of a part concert, part evangelical roadshow. They would stay after they played, and then they would explain their faith to people that wanted to hear.
No kidding.
It's kind of like a Billy Graham thing, except for Baha'is. If you were interested,
so
you could
part concert, part revival.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Revival. Yeah, they would stay after and explain their faith to him. But
wow,
I didn't. I was gone long before that concert was over, so I don't know how that went exactly. But
So you'd be set up for an event, but closed down before the end of the event?
Yeah,
typically?
like we would stop selling beer after the second period of hockey games.
Okay.
It would take us 20 minutes just to, shut down.
During the intermission, but then once the third period started, you were...
That's right. After the second period, intermission was over.
Intermission,
then we'd
right.
start taking things down.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we'd untap the kegs and we'd count our money and
Yep.
bring that stuff downstairs and turn that in. So that's, yeah. And for rock concerts, sometimes it was the same way. They usually lasted, a couple hours,
Right.
maybe 2.5. Springsteen started doing the
I was
marathon ones.
I was just going to say, unless it's Bruce Springsteen,
that'd be
then it's
exhausting.
3 hours and 45 minutes or something.
It seemed like that for a couple hours.
Yeah.
One of our managers say, okay, you can shut down. You can shut down this stuff. Plus, when you get concerts, you got the younger people, and I guess they don't want them to get too.
Yeah,
They don't want
right.
to worry about them being overserved.
Yes.
So they would have a shutdown at a certain time. So
Yeah.
and that always got kind of dicey too, because then you get these kids that would be mad saying,
Mad.
"Come on, I said, sorry,
Right,
we're shut down.
Yeah.
So
I'm empty.
we're done. We're done." So.
Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds like a good time. So, how long did you work Met Center?
I started in January of '74 when I was just about to start my junior year at the university. So 74, all of 75, and most of 76. Because in '76, I graduated from the U. I had my journalism degree, and I was looking for newspaper work.
Right.
And I got that job in Decorah, Iowa.
Right,
I worked
right.
down there. So I stopped in like September of '76.
Okay.
So it was almost 3 years, but it was a good time, and I left on really good terms. I got to know a lot of nice people working there. Everybody else had other jobs. They were.
Right.
I was among the younger people working there. There were guys in their 30s and 40s. I remember a guy who worked at the Ford plant in St. Paul,
Yeah.
and he'd come and sell beer in the evening. And another guy worked at a transfer trucking place, and he'd come there and sell. So it was pretty good money for not too hard of work. At least for me, at least it was. You have to be aware. I could tap a beer blindfolded. You do it so often, and there was a little bit of a technique back then. Pouring.
Yes.
You didn't want it to be
On the
3/4
side.
full of head.
Right.
You wanted to pour it just right, and so I did that, and it was a good place to schmooze. I always
no
like
doubt.
talking to people, so you'd come up especially like hockey games, you get fans from other cities that were coming to visit. People
Right.
from New York when the
Oh.
Rangers were in town,
Fun.
and that stuff. So it was just fun to get to meet and talk to different people. So.
Right. Nice. And that was kind of toward the end of the North Star's good run there in the early first half of the '70s.
Yes.
When they had a good team.
Yeah, really good. They were. Yeah. You're right though, because they started to slide in the mid '70s, and
Right.
when I was down in Iowa, I remember they just had really bad teams, and they ended up merging with the Cleveland Barons.
Yeah, because they were in financial trouble.
Right.
For the first time.
Yeah, and then wasn't there something with the Seals too? The the owners of the Seals ended up taking over the
Guns.
Gun Brothers. Yes.
They kind of bought out the two. I think they actually was Cleveland. Was the California Golden Seals became the Cleveland Barons maybe?
That could be.
And then they merged and under the North Stars name.
Right.
But that was like around 79-ish or somewhere in there.
Yes.
But, when you worked there, it was still, J.P. Parisi and Jude Druin and the defensive core was all pretty good.
Yeah, Goldsworthy was still there.
Yeah, Goldie. And then, you had defense. You had this steady Freddie Barrett and Ted Harris and probably Dennis O'Brien probably had just showed up, and Tom Reed. Those would have been.
Tommy Reed, I remember that too. and I can't remember if Louis was still playing. Lou Nanny.
Yeah, he would have.
He was
would have still been because he was a player coach in that team that merged. I think he was a player coach, so I think he played all through the '70s. I think he was actually a little bit younger than some of the like Goldsworthy and JP. I think those guys were just slightly older than Louis. Yeah,
they had a goalie. Well, Cesar Maniaga was goalie there. Gump Worsley was a goalie for a while when I was there. I'm trying to think. Gilles Molash, yeah.
Gilles-
He came a little bit later.
Yeah.
But they had a guy named Julie Gilbert.
Gilbert, that's who I'm thinking of.
Quebec player. So.
Yeah, Gilbert. That's the guy I was thinking of. And then he got traded to Boston once Jerry Cheevers was going to retire, right?
Right.
And then they got, Fred Stanfield or something for him.
Yeah, I think Jack Gordon might have been still coaching the North Stars then.
Yeah,
they went through a few coaches, though.
They did.
Like I said, they started to struggle in the mid-'70s.
Right.
Toward the last year or so I was working there, they weren't as good. They started to slide
right.
off. And by the time I came back from Iowa, I never went back to work at the Met, but I remember then they got Bobby Smith and Steve Payne, and they rose. They
once
got really
that
good
merger happened, they had a lot of good players that were all young and coming up together, and they unfortunately had three major injuries to their three best defensemen. They were.
Who were those guys again?
You had Hartsburg, who continued to play, but he wasn't the same guy.
Right.
Guy from Minneapolis, Henry, Tom Hirsch, was a high draft pick.
He went to Henry?
And he was a friend of a friend, so and a year older than me, so I got to face him on the ice, and big tall guy.
I remember when I first started working there was one kid from Minnesota that actually played for the North Stars. Excuse me, and I think he went to Hastings. His name is Dean Talifas.
Oh,
and
I didn't know he went to Hastings.
Yeah, and then he played at Wisconsin instead of Minnesota. But he was with the North Stars for at least a year or two.
Yeah, he would have been like in that era when they started kind of sliding a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say 74, 75, so when he was playing there. But I remember he was a local guy, so because like I said, the majority of the players were from Canada. They just were, so.
Yeah. Lou Nanny, I just am reminded, Lou Nanny lived in the same neighborhood as the Esposito brothers in Sault Ste. Marie.
Right, yeah.
So what a team they must have had, right?
Yeah, they're really good friends, because I know a lot of times Esposito used to be on shows when Lou Nanny was a guest or something, and they've been lifelong friends. That's right.
And they were GMs at the same time, and used to call each other to make trades and whatnot. I think Tony played a long time.
Yeah, he's a long-time goalie for the Blackhawks.
Right.
Yeah. And then Phil was with the Bruins, Boston. So. Yeah, good times.
Yep. All right, well, why don't you wrap it up with maybe one or two other memories of your time at the Met Center, and
sure.
And we'll call it a show.
Yep. No, I'll be happy to. Oh, I wanted to bring up one more thing about the North Stars, and I did not know this till I looked this up, John. The Met Center, according to my information, they were the first NHL team, the first NHL arena to sell advertising space on the rink sideboards.
Oh, yeah.
Now everybody's got it.
Right.
They're just around. But they were the first NHL team. They started doing that in 78 and 79.
I was going to say, right around the time of the merger, all of a sudden, those
78, 79.
advertisements started showing up on the boards. And
now everybody, has advertised. Heck, I think they might even have it on their jersey. I don't know.
Yeah, that must have been a Gunn Brothers idea, and it stuck.
And now everybody has it.
Right.
And, it's funny that it always seemed so unfair that arena got torn down after just, I don't think it was even 30 years.
Right.
67 and 94, they turned it down.
Yeah.
But
a little over 25 years old.
It's funny, though. It still seemed like it wasn't that old. But you know that there is not one arena in the NHL now that was older than the Met.
Yeah.
The oldest arena now, I just looked up this morning, the oldest one is Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
That was opened in February of 68, which is virtually the same time. And I think they've had 2 or 3 major renovations at the Garden.
Yeah.
But otherwise, every other arena was built in the 80s or late 80s.
I'm surprised that Madison Square Garden is that new. Was that maybe the second?
I think it's the second version of it.
Kind of like Yankee Stadium.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because isn't it Madison Square Garden for generations?
Back to Jack Dempsey or something.
Right. So,
yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, the part about the advertising. I just forgot about that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, John, first of all, you did a great job of interviewing. It was your idea to do this, and I'm flattered that you asked. It was fun to talk about it. It's funny now because several decades later, when you think back about where that Met Center was, there's a big blue IKEA store there.
Right.
That's there where the Met Center was. And the Mall of America, and more specifically the Nickelodeon indoor amusement park, that's where Met Stadium was.
Correct, yes.
Because they still have home plate there. You can walk across home plate.
Right.
And it has that red seat where Harmon
Killebrew
was. And then Memorial Stadium, where the Gophers played, another stadium, and you were like an usher at some Gopher football games, right? When you were younger,
in '77,
that got torn down when they moved to the Metrodome. Right now, there's an aquatic center there,
right,
and then there's this giant alumni center building, with the current stadium sort of like kitty corner across the street from there.
Right.
So
it's funny. They actually built that aquatic center in the middle of Memorial Stadium,
That's right.
which stood for probably 4 or 5 years at least. And there was still a big push by some people to get back on campus, and finally they tore it down so that those people would be, and to great protest. Don't tear down that piece of garbage. It was not a beautiful place. Kind of like Williams Arena nowadays is, the barn is showing its age.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that would like to see them build a new arena.
Yeah,
I don't know where they build it, but they'd like to.
It's an incredibly nostalgic place.
Yep.
And, the memories in that place are great, but it's the wrinkles are showing.
Yeah, and it's been there a long time, over 100 years, I think, the Williams. But yeah, the Met Center will always hold a special place in my heart. One, just because it was a great place to go to see games.
Yep.
And then two, just working there, I got to meet a lot of fun people there.
Yeah.
It's a good memory, good time.
Yeah.
So
no doubt. Did you tailgate at Met Center events? Were you one to participate in that?
I don't think I ever did that. I think we just. Yeah. Well, a lot of times we'd go there and we try to buy tickets off people who were trying to sell tickets. Right. So we didn't really tailgate. We were just trying to get into the place. No, I never tailgated for.
Certainly passed by plenty of tailgaters.
Oh yeah.
They would be camped out there for hours before the game.
Oh, and for Viking games too at Met Stadium. That's where you had people. That's when I first started seeing like purple school buses.
Yes.
They would literally get there like in 6 a.m.
All right. Start partaking in the antifreeze.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Those days were fun.
Yep.
Fun times.
They really were.
All right. Well, great, Bob. I'm glad we could do this. This was a great deal of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, you did a great job interviewing, John. I'm glad we could talk about it. So thanks again. And again, to our listeners, thanks for hanging out with me, Bob Edholm, and today's host, Jon Lawrence, my friend from Northeast Minneapolis. We hope you'll join us for the next episode of Hanging Out with Bob, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And until then, bye.